So I represent the Kansas 3rd Congressional District, which has a lot of, we're the heartland for a lot of reasons. One of those is that we're a major hub for transportation of goods, particularly across the country. And Mayor, thank you for making sure to acknowledge the National League of Cities is going on. I've had the chance, not just because of that, but over the course of the couple of months I've been serving, I have had the chance to meet with a lot of the local county and city officials, because I think it's really, really important to have those voices involved as we're here making decisions about funding, and hopefully we will make some decisions about funding. You know, I can tell you that the folks from Kansas City, Kansas, and Olathe and Lenexa and Shawnee, I mean, everybody is coming in as soon as they sit down. Infrastructure, first thing they say. And, you know, it's because we have a lot of needs, and I read through everyone's testimony. I appreciated the fact that, you know, we have to acknowledge that we've got to be investing in infrastructure, and we've got to do it now. So taking the view of, Ms. McMillan, I appreciated the comments you were making earlier about addressing the disconnect between having to make these long-term 10, 20, 30-year plans on infrastructure when we as a body are providing, you know, 5-year authorizations and shorter appropriations than that. So you brought up flexibility, and then Mr. Miller, I'd like to come to you after this. Can you talk a little bit about what does that flexibility look like, and how do we make sure that the local and state level governments are giving us the information we need to make it as flexible as possible?
Thank you so much for the question. You know, in representing the metropolitan planning organizations around the country, there's 408 of them. And I think the one thing we can say is that each one of them are different. And so a core part of the flexibility is recognizing that you first start with, at least at, you know, in the metropolitan planning partnership model, you work with your cities and counties, and you come up with a plan that deals not only with very localized impacts and needs, but also those that, again, cross across those boundaries and impact the regional economy that's going to lift everyone if it's well invested in. And so that's really the beginning of that. But once you have the plan, if the funding sources aren't flexible enough to invest in the solutions you've identified, then it makes it really difficult to actually take a plan into implementation and to improvements on the ground. So the notion of the flexibility is not only multimodal, going across you know, the different investments. You may need transit heavily in a particular area. You may want to invest in bike and pedestrian. Another freight, of course, in your, you know, arena is incredibly important. But I think it's also necessary to be flexible enough to adapt to changes as they happen. So taking a look, as some of the speakers pointed out, as the